Hey everybody, my guest today is Tayler Hollman. She is the marketing consultant turned small business champion and the founder of Enji, a super user-friendly marketing tool made specially for small business owners who are doing it all themselves. After spending over a decade helping small business figure out their marketing, Tayler took everything she knows and poured it into Enji to help you get your marketing done quickly, confidently, and without the overwhelm. Because let's face it, most of us didn't sign up to be our own chief marketing officer, but with the right tools, it doesn't have to feel so impossible. Let's dive in. Hey there, I am Nata Salvatori, and you're listening to the Accidental CEO podcast. This is a space for high-performing entrepreneurs who have built real success, but still find themselves tangled in the day-to-day. If you're done being the engine of your business and ready for scale with clarity, trust, and ease, you're in the right place. Each week, I'll bring you sharp strategies, identity-level mindset shifts, and leadership tools to help you rise above the business and lead from alignment, not exhaustion. Because scaling isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more of who you're meant to be. Subscribe now and let's build a version of your business that finally supports you. You're not just winging it, you are leading it. But let's be honest, being the CEO and the everything else can get lonely, messy, and exhausting. That's why I created the Accidental CEO Collective, a free Facebook community for creative entrepreneurs who never planned to be the boss, but damn it, here we are. Inside, I go live every week to share the real stuff. Strategies that don't require a business degree, behind-the-scenes struggles, because you're not the only one, and wins that we actually celebrate, even the tiny ones. If you're a scrappy, smart, sometimes slightly burnout founder who is ready to lead with more clarity and less chaos, this is your room. We're building a business that works for us, not one that runs us into the ground. Come join us. Let's grow, mess up, pivot, and succeed together. Just search the Accidental CEO Collective on Facebook and join our group today. Welcome back to the Accidental CEO podcast, guys. I'm your host, Nata Salvatori, and I have Tayler Hollman with me today. And I cannot wait to have this conversation because having the year we've been having so far in 2025, I feel like this conversation is going to be very helpful to everybody. We all are experiencing some weird stuff when it comes to consumer behavior. And I think talking about marketing and tracking your data and looking at things from a very objective way to make decisions is the way to go always, but especially even more this year. So welcome, Tayler.
Thank you so much for having me. I could not agree more. It's always good to be looking at your data, but whenever things feel different in ways that you're not super stoked about, the data becomes extra helpful.
Absolutely. So you say track metrics or stay stuck. So for a solopreneur or maybe somebody that has a small team, what is that minimum viable tracking setup to really take a good look at metrics and what are the tools that you recommend and things like that? Take us through a little bit of like, how do we start seeing signals without drowning in your business?
I love that you added that at the end of the question because if you are running your own business, there is a solid number of folks who are like, give me all the things. I want to do all the things. I want to learn all the things. I want to track all of the things. When you are in that mindset, it is good because those folks they're motivated and they're driven, but it is a really easy way to make yourself drown in your own stuff, that's not going to help give you clarity. And the whole reason why tracking your metrics with marketing gives you clarity is because pretty much all of the answers all of the questions that you have about your marketing, the answer in some way, shape, or form is living in this data, right? Like whether you call it data or metrics or KPIs, numbers, whatever floats your boat. And so that's why this is such an important thing to do because, marketing and making CEO level decisions just based on vibes is not really what CEOs do. I mean, maybe sometimes it's appropriate to just be like, okay, well, this feels better. Like this option feels better than this option. And yes, our intuition absolutely guides us as CEOs, but like the best performing CEOs are using their intuition and then backing it up with numbers. And so even if you're a solopreneur or working with just, a couple contractors supporting you, there are really easy ways to start tracking your numbers, thankfully. And, the minimum viable way that I would say to get started is if you have a spreadsheet brain, spreadsheets, because what else are you going to use to track numbers? Like Google Docs doesn't work. So the MVP in this, the minimum viable product in sort of techie speak, is a spreadsheet. And in terms of what metrics someone could be tracking, circling back to the mindset of like, oh, I'll track all of the things, I would strongly discourage anyone from doing that, because that's maximum level, right? We're talking about minimum level and how you just get started. So I like to really encourage people to, start with like a handful, maybe 10 metrics that you're going to start tracking. The way to sort of think about this is, every business has a funnel of some sort. And even and I'm not talking about an email funnel where you have a lead magnet, right? I'm talking about the funnel where people are somehow discovering you, and then how you are nurturing them toward a sale, and then how you're making a sale, right? To overly simplify things. The thing that people need to think about is, what are the things that I need to know and see and have visibility into at each parts of that funnel, to understand if at the end of the day, my business is healthy and my marketing is doing what it needs to be doing.
I mean, that combination of the gut check with the data, it's definitely the way to go. And what I tell my clients is like, if you don't know where people are coming from and what are you selling the most, what are you not selling, and understand why this is happening, then how are you making decisions? Like, you're not making data-driven decisions. And that's really what helps you make smart decisions and not be wasting your time and money. So a lot of my clients, when I'm coaching, will say, well, my clients, quote unquote, come from Instagram or come from my website, but you really like the DMs tell a fuzzy story. Are you really tracking, those clicks to your website? So how do you separate true, correlation from like true data connection happening outside of your CRM? Like, how do you track these things?
This is this is one of the really big changes that has happened in marketing and how we do business this year, because it used to be so much easier to understand where someone found you and where they ended up deciding to buy, like what that moment was that sparked a conversion. And in 2025, it is not the case. It is not the case at all. And that's because consumer behavior has fundamentally changed for, the reasons. It's a whole nother conversation that we need to have. To sort of sum it all up, people are sleuthing everywhere, all the time, in all of the places. And they are still consuming the marketing and the content that we are putting out there, but they're not interacting with it nearly as much. I would encourage everyone to hit pause, theoretically, and think about your own behavior on just the internet. And how often do you stop and maybe read an Instagram post or some sort of thread somewhere, and in your mind you go, yeah, that was good. But your thumb never touches the screen other than to just keep on keeping on. Real life example of how consumer behavior has changed. And so figuring out how people are actually finding you is hard right now. And every professional marketer will tell you that it's difficult. And I say that because I want people to not feel like they're doing something wrong when they feel like it is a challenge to figure this stuff out. The professional marketers are also finding it to be very challenging, because we also have things like our email open rates are another really great real world example of this, where if you don't do a little bit of digging, and I'll use Enji's email list as an example. When I go in and I see a 65% open rate, I'm like, yes, so good. But then when I click into the insights and I remove the Apple automatic open thing that happens, which is our worst nightmare, my open rate is actually 27%, right? And so there are a lot of things that are impacting what marketing metrics look like and how we need to start looking at them. The thing that I would encourage people to start using so that you have to a statistically significant level of confidence, like the right amount of insight, is to start using UTMs if you're not already using UTMs. And I know that sounds, some people probably were like, what is that? I can't ever remember what it stands for. I'm pretty sure that the word urchin is in it. It's basically like it's a little tracking piece that you can put at the end of a URL. And so we have UTMs that help us understand if someone clicked on a link in an email newsletter and then started an Enji trial, or if they clicked our link in bio in Instagram and then started an Enji trial. And you can, if you go and you look at Enji's Instagram bio and you look at the link in our profile, you're like, oh, I see the UTM at the end of that, because it's not just, www.enji.co. There's something extra there. So that's something that is a really smart thing for folks to do. The asterisk on this is that it only shows you the very last thing that someone interacted with before they decided to, sort of take that step toward conversion. And it doesn't take into account the messy soup of things and all of the sleuthing, but that's something that is free to do. It doesn't cost anything to create UTMs. It is, more advanced intermediate levels of marketing. And so if you're not comfortable with it, I highly recommend working with a consultant, or if you're comfortable Googling things, Google how to do this. But those are some really great ways to really start to know how things are being pulled together.
Perfect. That's urchin tracking modules, in case you guys are wondering what that stands for. All right. So I love that. Let's say we're bought into this idea. Give me some proof. What proof do you have that tracking metrics is worth my time? Because again, in this time and age, I want to know what to put my time, that I'm going to have some return, because time is valuable, but it's also very, very scarce these days. So give me the proof.
So the proof is when you do it, you actually see what's working and what's not working with your marketing. And, I know we're not sharing screens or anything, but a couple of the most important metrics that Enji tracks are website visitors is one example. And then also our cost to acquire a customer is another example. When I look at our graphs, when I see a spike on our graph for website visitors, I'm like, okay, awesome. What was I doing then to cause that spike or to influence that spike? And so then I can go back to my marketing plan and my calendar, and then I can make a decision of what I'm going to lean into, because I saw the positive consequence of my actions. On the other side of things, tracking our cost to acquire a customer, that one is like top 3 most important KPIs for us, because as a $29 a month piece of software, like we are very acutely aware of how much in marketing dollars it costs us to win a new customer. And so when I see a spike in our cost to acquire a customer, I go, what went sideways? What were we doing that clearly wasn't worth my time and money and energy? So I like full stop, like don't make that expensive mistake again. I know that that's anecdotal proof, but if someone wants like me to show them physical proof, then let's Instagram DM me and let's nerd out about it. But it's absolutely, tracking your metrics absolutely gives you the things that you need to see with your own 2 eyes.
I love that. very, concrete, looking at it, make a connection, repeat the behavior that's actually bringing more clients in so you're not wasting your time. Let's be honest, you didn't build this business to work 80 hours a week, chasing invoices and solving problems at midnight. But now you hit a wall. You've outgrown DIY and you're spinning your wheels trying to scale and stay sane. That's where one-on-one coaching with me comes in. This is not a cookie cutter program. It's tailored, strategic support designed specifically for founders like you, the ones who built something from nothing and are now carrying all the weight. We'll get clear on what's keeping you stuck, simplify your focus, and build a plan that gets results without burning you out. If you want a second brain and no BS sounding board, and someone who can help you make better, faster, smart decisions, this is for you. Head out to accidentalceo.co/coaching. That's accidentalceo.co/coaching. And let's work together to grow your business and take your life back. All right, so let's say you convinced me into it, but I only have 90 minutes this month for marketing ops. What do I focus on?
Well, if you have 90 minutes to just focus on marketing ops, for a lot of folks, that's a solid amount of time, especially if you're doing your own marketing, because you're not trying to be me where I'm like needing to be this, puppeteer of all the marketing marionettes around me. But, when it comes to how you're going to get started quickly, you can either use that spreadsheet if you are a spreadsheet brain and know how to manipulate data in that. Or if you're like me and all you can do is highlight a row of numbers to get like a sum. That's the extent of my spreadsheetiness. We use Enji to track our marketing metrics, which makes it really helpful for me because it automatically is like doing things for me and turning it into charts that my brain understands. The first thing to do is to sit down, think of your marketing funnel again, right? And what are the, couple KPIs at each part of your funnel that you need to track in order to start to have this visibility into the things that are working and the things that aren't working. And then the next thing that everybody should be doing across all aspects of their marketing is having a routine, a rhythm set up for actually doing the work. The CEO level you is making the plan and thinking strategically, but also needs to set up the CMO you or like the marketing assistant you to do the work well. And so creating a day of, for us, it's like on KPI day, that's what we celebrate. The first day of every month is when I'm going to go review my monthly metrics. I'm going to do some manual tracking because not everything is automatic. And then I'm going to spend 15 minutes looking at the numbers, right? So define whatever that routine is going to be for you.
I was going to say, I think that's so important to really take time to look at numbers and not just like once a year when you're doing maybe you're getting into a retreat or you're looking at the year and kind of assessing and making plans for the next year. That sometimes is the only time people look at their numbers. So many times when I'm meeting with my coaching clients and I'm putting data together, they're like, oh, I never looked at that. Oh, I didn't even think about looking at that. And I'm like, well, how are we making decisions if we're not looking at data? So having a time blocked on your schedule to visit that more often, I think is amazing and definitely a practice that everybody should be following for sure.
Yeah, don't let these CEO level tasks end up like how you treat your bookkeeping. And I like you shouldn't treat your bookkeeping like that anyways, because that's why you hate doing it. But if you do most of these CEO level tasks once a month, they take you 30 to 60 minutes once a month, right? If that even. A lot of them can go really quickly if you just eat the elephant, one bite at a time versus I've got this massive amount of fill in the blank and now it's overwhelming and I don't want to do it. And so I've set myself up for failure and just opting out of the practice in and of itself.
Talking about a lot of data and looking at a lot of things, what do you feel like is the most dangerous vanity metric that you see founders really chasing? And what are some maybe leading indicators that should replace them?
Yeah, the vanity metrics they're ego driven, and it tends to be the follower counts, the email list size, right? It's just like, how many people do I have following me? Because it makes us feel accomplished. But at the end of the day, there is value in tracking these things, but those metrics typically aren't metrics that I make big decisions based off of. They're just sort of like there to help me understand a baseline level of health for that channel, right? Because if you see, your email list lose 500 subscribers in a month, you're going to be like, what happened there, right? So the vanity metrics are vanity metrics, so don't obsess over them, but be aware of them. The sort of leading indicators for a lot of things are those sleuthing behaviors. And so, the end result is not always that you want Instagram followers. Right now, a lot of us are just like, please, can we have organic reach back? And things like that, right? Take a half step back and think about what are the behaviors, actions, things that you want people to do or things that you think people would be doing before that vanity metric. And that's how you're going to start to understand if things are moving in the right direction before you've gotten to that like email list subscriber or follower or conversion.
I love that you mentioned the organic reach. So for those founders that are selling services via relationships and referrals, do you have a suggestion for like a lightweight system to track that word of mouth that so we can actually double down on what's working for those founders as well?
Yes. So if you aren't already asking the question in your lead capture form, how did you find me? Please add that, right? It's a very simple question. You can, whether you leave it open-ended where someone's typing in the answer or you pre-fill it with some options that folks can select from, that's how you're going to start collecting that data. The other way that you can start doing it is on your discovery calls with clients, just asking them, work it into the start of your conversation. Hey, I'm just curious, like, how did you find me? A lot of folks are going to tell you, oh, well, I think I found you here. I don't really remember, but I started following you there, or I got on your email list, right? You're going to start to understand the web of things that people are interacting with. And that's really, really important for you to stop thinking that they're interacting with everything and have a very clear picture of the 2 or 3 places that they are going to poke around to learn about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people who rely a lot on word of mouth and referrals sometimes find an easy way out of tracking data because they're like, oh, that's just how all my clients come to me. But again, it could be one person sending you 70% of your clients and you're not aware and you're not nurturing their relationship. And that can very quickly end and out goes the vast majority of your lead generation. So understanding that is very, very important. So the main two things that really, I think come to place when it comes to people making a decision into how and when to invest in marketing is one is their time, which we went over. And the second thing is their budget. So then when budgets are tight, how do you decide between improving the conversion on things that are already existing, your existing channels that are already giving you some stuff versus adding a new channel? Like what metric do you really look into to make that decision?
Mm-hmm. This is a really pretty deep question, very personal. I know it's like, it's easy to ask, but that's as a CMO and founder, this is a question that I ask myself constantly, right? What do I continue to invest more in? And what am I comfortable doing an experiment with, right? Like adding a new channel. I wouldn't say that there's a clear-cut signal for this, but what I would say is when you're deciding whether or not to push harder on an existing marketing channel, this is actually where like some vibes come into play. How easy is it for you to like do the things on that marketing channel. An example for this would be in 2025, I made or actually in late 2024, when I was coming up with Enji's 2025 marketing strategy, I made a really tough decision for me to make about events and public speaking and traveling for that sort of stuff. Public speaking is my happy place because I intended to be a community college professor and like standing in front of a classroom teaching. And so public speaking on a stage is as close to being in a classroom as I get. So I love it. I'm one of those weirdos that loves it. But it was so taxing when in 2024 when I did it quite a bit. And then looking at 2025, I was like, it works, but does it work enough for how much energy I have to put into this? And the answer was no. And I hated it. And I sat on making that decision because I didn't want to. But when I paired that emotional reality with the numbers that I had tracked from each one of these speaking engagements and how many new customers we got from each one, like, and how quickly, I was like, I can't argue with this combination of information that I'm looking at. And so I had to lean out of that. You know, that's how you can start to figure out, do I put it in the keep pile or not? And then when it comes to experimenting with a new channel, a lot of people make the mistake of just thinking they need to go like all in on something new because again, if you're running a business, you are a driven person, you're ready to like, some of us are also perfectionists. And so like, we can't put something that's not really good out there. But if you want to experiment and try a new channel, I really encourage people to, do the MVP of that experiment, of that channel, so that you can at least start to get, some sort of picture on whether or not it's money well spent before you go and you spend $30,000 on ads, right? Like run an experiment for $1,000 first and see if it's like ticking or working or hooking before you go big on it.
So I want to dive into Enji just a little bit for this last one. So you built Enji from years of consulting, lots of experience. Tell us about what are the specific problems that it solves for founders, especially when it comes to tracking and decision making, and how should a new user spend their first week to get a quick win inside of the platform?
I'm taking an educated guess, Nata, that you also get asked this question from your clients or you hear this statement. And the statement that I used to hear all the time as a marketing consultant was, Tayler, just tell me what to do, right? just tell me what to do. I don't want to make any more decisions. I am so emotionally tapped out. Like I just need someone to tell me what to do. And that's a very common experience for business owners and CEOs, right? Because we are inundated with needing to make decisions every day. That was the thing that really sparked the idea for Enji was, okay, well, my clients consistently are coming to me with this same problem of like, they just want their marketing strategy and plan to plop in front of them somehow magically. And, even though we can't magically just like make things appear, the idea was, how do we make this as easy as humanly possible to get a marketing strategy and plan that is really personalized? So that's the big thing that Enji solves, is taking a business owner from a place of like, I have umpteen bazillion options of how I could market my business, but what should I do? And that's what Enji does, is it takes the width of your options and narrows it down into like, this is the lane that we think you should drive in. So go drive in it. And when folks are starting out, I mean, the first week is create your marketing plan, right? And refine how it lands on your calendar, because Enji actually does create that routine of, hey, once a month, you're going to track your metrics. And every other week, you're going to schedule social media content and, this, that, and the other. But refine it and make it yours, make it fit your life, because Enji does its best attempt at making it fit your life. but I don't actually know what your calendar looks like. After that, it's setting up those first handful of metrics that you're going to start tracking, because the sooner you track it or start tracking, the sooner you are going to have the information you need to answer your own questions and feel like, okay, I have clarity and confidence around what I'm going to be doing more of and less of.
I love that. It's again, like we said in the beginning, this is such an amazing tool to have to really track things. I've always been a big proponent of tracking data. I'm a spreadsheet girl too, so I totally get your brain and everybody else's that like tracking data. We all work differently though. Like that's why Enji was created. Not everybody likes spreadsheets. There's all kinds of different ways to look at things. And when things are more automated and put together for you, it again saves time. It makes things a lot easier. So I'm really love that we're having this conversation. If you're listening to this in the future, come back and leave me a comment and tell us what the heck was happening in 2025. Now that maybe you're like 5-10 years down the road.
Please and thank you. This is a time capsule.
We're just scrambling over here trying to figure out what's happening this year. But we wanted to give you tools to really be making smart decisions when it comes to your time and your money, how you're conducting your business so you can have the best ROI and stay around. We want you to win. We want you to be here, which is why I wanted to bring Tayler into the podcast to talk about Enji and help you track all of this amazing stuff that we all should be tracking. So tell them where. We're going to put all the information on the show notes, but just a quick for somebody who's driving or can't write anything down and read right now, tell them where to find you and Enji and how to connect things.
Yeah. Our website is enji.co, real easy. And then our Instagram account is enji_co. So we have lots of fun on social media. I mean, I do love to hate it, but I also love to be silly. So there's a lot of silly, fun content going on over there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and come back next week for another one. Bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Accidental CEO podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us in the world where creativity and business strategy collide. I am Nata Salvatori, thrilled to have shared this time with you. Remember, every episode is a step closer to mastering the art of being an accidental CEO. So don't miss out. Hit subscribe, drop us a sweet review, and spread the word to your creative tribe. Your next big breakthrough could be just one episode away. Join us next time for more insights, laughs, and actionable tips. Keep pushing boundaries, dreaming big, and embracing the beautiful chaos of entrepreneurship. Here's to make magic happen in your business and beyond.